Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at Season 3 of The Wire. So in this season, the Baltimore police are continuing their pursuit of Avon Barksdale and his organization, while also contending with the fact that the Barksdale organization now faces competition in the form of the Stanfield organization, run by Marlo Stanfield. And of course, if you've watched the show, you'll know that in this season, the police resort to unconventional methods in order to reduce several crime rates. Make sure you're all caught up on the first 2 seasons of The Wire because this video will contain a few spoilers. Now, many consider Season 3 to be one of the show's finest seasons to date, and some even call it the best season, and the overall peak of the show. And honestly, after watching it, I have to agree with that. It really is the best of the best in this entire show. So, let's jump straight into it. So firstly, it's nice to see what some of the detectives are up to. Jimmy is trying to be there for his 2 sons and, break some of the tension between himself and his ex-wife, Alina. Kima and Cheryl have a son now, and, Kima's trying to commit to that as well as her job, and she finds it to be extremely difficult. Cedric's wife seems to be doing better than he is. I mean, he's got a law degree and it's not really doing him any favors as of late. But there is one thing that happens to him that definitely lifts his spirits a little bit. Prez accidentally commits an act that could potentially end his career, and it's a subplot that is still relevant in today's times, given the ongoing issue of police immorality. Stringer continues to run the Barksdale organization in Avon's absence, that is until he eventually gets out. He and the other members of the organization are faced with the challenges of the ongoing war between them and the Stanfield organization. I mean, shootouts are happening quite often, people are getting killed and so on. And considering an abandoned building they used for work purposes has been destroyed now, they have to look for new ways of distributing their product. Plus, Stringer is also investing in housing now, considering he studied economics with the money he earned from his contributions to the organization, even though, as usual, it's just a means of avoiding direct connections to the Barksdale organization. Avon's been released from jail now, and he's looking forward to the life he once had before he was arrested, and he shares some great scenes with Stringer, due in large part to the performances of Wood Harris and Idris Elba. Meanwhile, Omar continues robbing the Barksdale stashing houses, even though it's much more difficult now with everything happening. And he actually shares some great scenes with Bunk, one of which features a speech from Bunk about how the city of Baltimore used to be. Bubbles is supplementing his income as a criminal informant by collecting several discarded cell phones and t-shirts and selling them in these areas called the Amsterdam safe zones, which I'll get to in a bit. Then we have some of the new characters introduced in Season 3, the first one being Howard Colvin, aka Bunny. Colvin is played by Robert Wisdom, who you may remember from shows such as Prison Break, Supernatural, and movies such as The Collector. Colvin is a police major who is several months away from retirement, and in this season he devises a strategy that proves to be radical yet effective in reducing the city's felony rate. And what does he do? Well, he and the police organize a couple of abandoned areas in Baltimore and turns them into these safe zones known as Amsterdam, where drug dealers can traffic and distribute drugs legally. Under surveillance, of course, just as long as they don't do it anywhere outside of these safe zones. Then you have Tommy Carsetti, played by Aidan Gillen, who you may recognize as Littlefinger from Game of Thrones. Tommy is a member of the Baltimore City Council, and he wants to run for mayor. Despite his idealistic and ambitious nature, as well as support from several Democrats, he's faced with the pressure of becoming a white mayor to a predominantly black city. Then you have Dennis Wise, aka Cutty, played by Chad Coleman, who you may remember as Tyrese from The Walking Dead. Cutty is a reformed criminal who tries to start a new life, having just been released from prison, and he decides to go about it by opening up a boxing gym. And surprisingly enough, he ended up becoming one of my favorite characters in the entire show. Then we have Marlo Stanfield, the head of the Stanfield organization. As a young drug lord, he starts out small in Baltimore and slowly works his way to the top of the drug trade, seizing as many corners as possible, which proves to be a huge problem for the Barksdale organization. Marlo has a demand for unconditional respect and is also murderously narcissistic, frequently ordering the deaths of anyone who crosses him. While this season returns the show's focus to the drug trade in Baltimore, its core themes are the city government and bureaucracy, especially since it places more of an emphasis on politics compared to what came before it. The finale was perfect, and fun fact, the show was initially set to be cancelled by season 3, so that's why everything played out the way that it did in the end. Thankfully, this wasn't the case, as HBO went on to produce 2 more stellar seasons of the show. And yeah, that's pretty much it. As for the cons, there aren't really any. The season to me is the only flawless and perfect season of the show. This is exceptional television at its finest. And yeah, that's the review, guys. So next time we're gonna take a break from The Wire and we're gonna look at Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Star Wars series. So thank you all for watching, guys. Please be sure to like the video, share it, and subscribe. Ring the bell. Be safe during this time, and I'll see you soon.